So I welcome all of you to English discussion. We are conducting it every Tuesday, and Bante Dhammajiva also connecting from Katukaliyawa, Anuradhapura, and hope Bante can hear us.
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Hemai Sanas. So actually now we have reached one sutta called Ujjhana Sanye Sutta. Actually last time I couldn't participate. According to Dhammosada, we have completed part of this sutta. So we have completed, so we'll start from the middle. So basically the order what we are following is, I'll read the Pali verse and I invite Venerable Dhammalanka to read the Sinhala translation, Venerable Dhammosada to read the English translation produced by Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi, and then we all can participate in the discussion. So I'll start from fairly from the middle. Athako tha devatayo pataviyang patitta hitva bhagavato padesu sirasa nipatitva bhagavantang etada vocung. Acchayo no bhante accagama yatha bhalang yatha mulhang yatha akusalang ya mayang bhagavantang asade tabbang amanyimha tasang no bhante bhagava accayang accayato patiganhatu ආයතින් සංවරා යාති.
අවසරයි ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ. ඉක්බිති ඒ දේවතාවෝ පොළොවේහි පිහිටා භාග්‍යවතුන් වහන්සේගේ පා ළඟ හිසින් වැඳ වැටි භාග්‍යවතුන් වහන්සේට වහන්ස යම්බඳු අපි බාල බවට අනුරූපසේ මූඩ බවට අනුරූපසේ අදක්ෂ බවට අනුරූපසේ භාග්‍යවතුන් වහන්සේ වචනයෙන් ගැටිය යුත්තකු කොට සිතූමුද ඒ වරද අප ඉක්ම ගියේය. වහන්ස ඒ අපගේ වරද ආයතින් සංවරය පිණිස වරද වශයෙන් භාග්‍යවතුන් වහන්සේ පිළිගන්නාසේක්වයි මෙය සැලකලහ.
Asai Swaminathan. Then the Blessed One displayed a smile.
No, actually the previous one, they are confession-like thing.
Okay. I'll start over. Then those devatas, having alighted on the earth, prostrated themselves with their heads at the Blessed One's feet and say to the Blessed One, "A transgression overcame us, Venerable Sir, being so foolish, so stupid, so unskillful that we imagined we could assail the Blessed One. Let the Blessed One pardon us for our transgressions, seen as such for the sake of restraint in the future."
Yeah, and then Buddha recites like this: Atako bhagava sitang patva khasi atako ta devatayo bhiyo somattaya ujjayantiyo vehasang abbugganyung eka devata bhagavato santike imang gathang abasi accayang desayanti nang yoche na patiganhati kopantaro dosagaru saverang patimucchati.
අවසරයි සංස. එකල්හි භාග්‍යවතුන් වහන්සේ සිනා පහල කළසේක. එකල්හි ඒ දේවතාවෝ බොහෝ සෙයින් දොස් පහල කෙරෙමින් අහසට නැංගහ. එක් දෙවියෙක් භාග්‍යවතුන් වහන්සේ සමීපෙහි මේ ගාථාව කීය. යමෙක් දෙසන්නවුන්ගේ වරද නොපිළිගනීද ඇතුළත කෝප ඇති ද්වේෂය ගුරුකොටගෙන වසන හෙතෙමේ ඒකාන්තයෙන් වෛරය තමා කෙරෙහි බැඳ තබයි.
Then the Blessed One displayed a smile. Those devatas, finding fault to an even greater extent, then rose up in the air. One devata recited this verse in the presence of the Blessed One. If one does not grant pardon to those who confess transgression, angry at heart, intent on hate, one strongly harbors enmity.
And then Buddha recites, Accayoche na vijjetha no chida apahatang siya veranicha sammeyung tenidha kusalo siya.
භගවතු ඉඳින් මෙහි වරදෙක් නැත්නම් ඉඳින් අපරාධයකුත් නොවන්නේ නම් වෛරයොත් සංසිඳෙන්නාහු නම් එයින් මෙහි නිරවද්‍ය චර්යායෙහි දක්ෂයෙක් වන්නේය.
The Blessed One said, "If there was no transgression, if here there was no going astray, and if enmities were appeased, one would be faultless here."
Faultless.
Yes, faultless.
And then another deity mentioned like this, another devata, Kassachaya na vijjanti kassa natti aphagatang ko sammoha mapadi කෝවා ධීරෝ සදා සතෝති.
දෙවි කවරෙකුගේ වැරදි නැද්ද? කවරෙකුගේ අපරාධ නැද්ද? කවරෙක් මුලාවට නොපැමිණේද? කවරෙක් හැම කල්හි සිහි ඇත්තේද? පණ්ඩිතද?
For whom are there no transgressions? For whom is there no going astray? Who has not fallen into confusion? And who is the wise one, ever mindful?
And then Buddha answers like this. Tathagatassa buddhassa sabba bhutanukampino tassacchaya na vijjanti tassa natti apagatang. So na sammoha mapadi sova dhiro sada sato. Acchayang desayanti nang yoche na patiganhati. Kopantoro dosagaru saverang patimucchati. Tangverang nabhinandami patiganhami වච්චයන්ති.
භගවත්තු චතුත් සත්‍ය අවබෝධ කළා වූ හැම සතුන් කෙරෙහි අනුකම්පා ඇති ඒ තථාගතයන් වහන්සේගේ වැරදි නැත. උන්වහන්සේගේ අපරාධ නැත. උන්වහන්සේ මුලාවට නොපැමිණෙත්. මේ ලෝකේහි උන්වහන්සේම හැම කල්හි සිහි ඇතිසේක. පණ්ඩිත සේක. ඉඳින් යමෙක් දෙසන්නවුන්ගේ වරද නොපිලිගනීද ඇතුළත කෝප ඇති ද්වේෂය ගුරු කොටගෙන වසන හෙතෙමේ වෛරය තමා කෙරෙහි බැඳ තබයි. ඒ වෛරය නොපිලිගනිමි. තොපගේ වරද පිළිගනිමි.
Yes, Buddha answers.
The Blessed One said, the Tathagata, the Enlightened One, full of compassion for all beings, for him there are no transgressions, for him there is no going astray. He has not fallen into confusion, and he is the wise one, ever mindful. If one does not grant pardon to those who confess transgression, angry at heart, intent on hate, one strongly harbors enmity. In that enmity I do not delight. Thus I pardon your transgression.
Yeah, that's in the Suddha Swamin answer.
ඒකේ පොයින්ට් එකක් බලන්න මේ එකක් තමයි that those devata went into the sky with grumbling each other and finding fault each other. Am I correct?
What I understood was like they were not happy from the Buddha's answer. They were thinking that Buddha didn't apologize him, or rather forgiven them. So they were displeased and then rise up. Rise up and again they show some sort of a displeasure. But then Buddha say, no, I already admitted it. So something like that. That's what we understood Swamin answer.
That is the way we have to understand, because some devata remain and see the conclusion of the sutta. The part of devata grumbling and going, we are lucky the other devatas are remaining and taking the case. And that is one point. The other one is වේරාන පරිමුච්ඡති වේරා පරිමුච්ඡති කියලා කොටසක් තියෙනවා. අනුන්ගේ වැරදි වලට සමාන නොදැන කෙනා ඇතුළත කෝධගරු වෛරය ඉක්මවන්නේ නැහැ කියලා.
එහෙමයි.
මතකද can you see that in the one verse there's one step, the anger is overcome or anger is not overcome because he is not pardoning the others slips.
Yes.
Or mistakes. Am I correct?
Correct, Swaminatha. There is such that Buddha.
Yeah.
Buddha.
Can you repeat that part?
එහෙමයි. අච්චයෝ චේ න විජ්ජේත නෝ විධාපගතං සියා වේරානිච සම්මේයොං තේනීද කුසලෝසියා. So that is actually the Buddha's answer telling යම් ඉදින් මෙහි වරදෙක් නැත්තම් ඉදින් අපරාධයකුත් නොවේ නම් වෛරය සංසිඳෙන්නාහු නම් එයින් මෙහි නිරවද්‍ය චර්යාහි දක්ෂයෙක් වන්නේය. Actually the deity mentioning that what Swamin Wahanse has mentioned, acchayan desayanti nang yoche na patiganhati kopantaro dosa garu saverang patimucchati. That is one deity actually giving kind of a comment. Can you repeat the English translation of that?
Yeah, that kind of comment is been quoted.
Yeah.
Quoted as the Yakka Sanyutta Manibadda Yakka, Manibadda Sutta. Manibadda is telling Satimato Sadabaddo, Satimato Sukanseyo, Satima Sukamediti, Hoda na parimucchati kiyala. Verana parimucchati kiyala. Vera cha parimucchati. Buddhajanasa කියනවා නෑ සතිමත්ව සදා බද්දෝ සදා සෙය්‍යෝ සතිමත්ව සුඛං සේති වේරා න පරිමුච්ඡති කියලා. ඔක නිතරම අචාන් බ්‍රහ්ම සාකච්ඡාවට ගන්නවා. අචාන් බ්‍රහ්ම is always talking because mindful people are very angry. They have not thought about and given up anger or disparity or disagreement. So the Buddha is telling yes. The Yakka is telling no, even anger is been alleviated. So that is often quoted by Achan Brahm, telling that those who are practicing mindfulness, they have no kindfulness. Therefore, you should have mindfulness and kindfulness. But this sutta says there's a way of the anger is coming. There's a way anger is not coming. So that is a partial answer to that particular sutta that is called Manibadda Sutta or Manibadda Sutta. So I thought of raising these 2 points.
Emai Swamina, I found that sutta, Manibadda Sutta. What we are saying is Ujjhana. What we are
discussing now?
Yeah, currently discussing Ujjhana Sanye Sutta.
That.
Manibadda Sutta, yes, as Swamin Wahanse mentioned, such things he has mentioned, and Buddha actually answers Sati mato sada baddang satima sukha medati Sati mato cha suve seyyo vera na parimucchati Yassa sabba maho rattang ahinsaya rato mano mettang so sabba bhutesu veran tassa na kena chiti. Sihi attahata.
That particular gatha and what is quoted just in this Ujjhana Sanya Sutta is going somewhat parallel. If you have not committed anything, if you have no Vera, nothing, not related to the Vera. So that is how the Manibadda is telling Vera is alleviated by mindfulness. But the Buddha says no. Instead, he gives the recipe to get rid of Vera. And here the Buddha says, I am in that stand. I have nothing to deal with Vera. I have not committed. I have not Kodagaru. I am not pardoning others. So therefore, for me, there's no Koda. So that is, Manibadda is talking about the therapeutic effect. Buddha is talking about preventative effect. So this is very subtle. Not relevant, because people which wanted to have a therapeutic part of therapeutic part of lack of Vera, but the sati is covering both. They're covering the preventative part, not doing mistakes, not denying pardoning, and within he is not having any Vera, so that nothing to deal with Vera. So these are some parallel things, but it is talking about preventative aspects of Vera, and at that stage also mindfulness is effective for my understanding.
Avasarai Swaminansa, as Swaminansa pointed out, so in the Manibadda Sutta, like when the Manibadda is telling the mindfulness alone can abandon the Vera, so Buddha denies it. Buddha say here Sati mato sada baddang satima sukha medati Sati mato suve seyyo Vera na parimucchati. Vera na parimucchati. Vera, the hate is not abandoned. But yassa sabba mahorattang ahinsaya rato mano mettang so sabba bhutesu veram tassa na kena chiti. So at every time if someone is having a fairly
they have no Vera, because
kind of a kindness is maintained in one's mind for everyone, then that metta towards everybody is available, and therefore there is no thought of hate in his mind.
So that is because the Vera has not arisen. If it is not arisen, nothing to get rid of them. That is a preventative. And this sutta also it says, the other devata at large says, Buddha has not pardoned us. So that means they were not happy. So after that, one devata remaining and says, there the Buddha gives the conclusion. The conclusion is more towards the enlightened being, that means preventative part, and that is still expressed to the non-enlightened being. So, Devata wanted to have therapeutic, but the Buddha did not give only therapeutic, later give a total answer, prevention as well as therapy. This is very subtle in Vera. Vera means that this depression, attention, disagreement. So likewise, these qualities are making the 100% psychiatric diseases. And earlier they thought it is about 50% of psychosomatic diseases. But now the medical scientists, they are slowly agreeing 100% is psychosomatic. And that proves the recovery is placebo. Whatever the chemical using, whatever the yoga you are using, whatever the Ayurvedic you are using, if the mindset is healthy, mindset is compassionate with you, loving kindness with you, you are on the process of recovery. 100%, but recovery process. So placebo effect is a very vast area beyond psychiatry, beyond medical science, beyond any healing powers, mantras, and any mystics, everything. This is a mystic. That if you wish to be happy, you are happy. People think that for the happiness, the better half must be there. So that is the root cause of everything. So that part we have to think using mindfulness, therapeutic way, or preventative way with respect to Vera. So this is not been well explored, and Western countries are slowly finding fault with mindfulness. They are about to point out that whenever you become mindful, you are selfish. You don't care. You are like autistic, autism range early signs. You don't care what is happening. So that is the way that if you look at from the therapeutic way. But preventative way, mindfulness is giving a kick, giving a catalytic effect, not to stop at preventative, therapeutic way, preventative. That's a complete task of the teacher. The teacher is not skillful. He will get a lot of praise, gains, and everything at the end of the therapeutic part. That is called business Buddhism. That's called Mac mindfulness. But if you keep, the prevention is never to be forgotten. Towards that, raga or dosa, or attachment or hatred, is far away, far away. That means it is not inflicting, it is not impactful, like in the case of a therapeutic way. That is what I thought of sharing.
Mac mindfulness. MC
Mindfulness.
MC mindfulness. Mac mindfulness, kind of a, business mindfulness. McDonald. Kind of cheap mindfulness without properly, quite
It is
cheap.
very expensive. It's very expensive, but it's a commercial product.
Commercial commodity. As a mindfulness, they are selling, but not properly grounding with the proper Buddhist ethics. That's all, something like that. Something mentioned?
Swaminasa, I'm not clear about the second verse you told in Manibadha Sutta, and Veranna Paribunjati in first verse, and the second verse and mindfulness or something.
No. So in the Manibadda Sutta that when that the deity is mentioning, yes, Satimato Sadabaddhang Satimasu Kamedati Satimato Susuveseyo Veracha Parimuchati. So that is what the deity thinking, that mindfulness can abandon even the Vera, even the hate in one's mind. Then Buddha denies it. Buddha admits that Satimato Sadabaddhang, yes, mindfulness has a kind of a pleasant atmosphere, and Satima Sukhamedati, and the mindfulness one can be happy. Satimato Suve Seyo, so he may be dwelling happily, but Vera na parimuchati. Hate is not totally, the anger is not totally abandoned merely through mindfulness. And then Buddha adds here, Yassa sabba maho rattang. That means Yassa, every time, the morning and evening, ahinsaya rato mano. One's mind is somewhat dwelling with the ahimsa, dwelling with, say, non-cruelty. Mettangso sabba bhutesu. So every being that he has the loving kindness, tassa na veran tassa na kenachi. So then that hateful thought will be abandoned. So maybe that could be the reason, as Bhante pointed out. So why Ajahn Brahm is coining these two, mindfulness with kindfulness. So he has published a book, Mindfulness and Kindfulness. And sometimes I have seen that in the West, so they are combining Brahma Vihara with the mindfulness, Brahma Viharas with emptiness. So these are kind of things probably we can pay further attention. So not alone mindfulness, when we are coupling it with the Brahma Viharas, it can give a fairly very gentle atmosphere in one's heart. In one sense, it is promoting the kindness, sympathetic side. On the other hand, the wisdom side, through the emptiness, through the mindfulness, kind of the wisdom side. So kind of a balance can be sense in one's heart.
So Savasarai, I have heard in Panditharama, at the end of the day, they recite some kindful metta something, because to balance this mindfulness and kindfulness. Is that so?
Could be. Yes. Every day after each day of the Panditharama retreat, so they are emphasizing the mindfulness practice, Satipatthana practice, but at the end of the day is finished with reciting the Karaniya Metta Sutta and the Metta related verses. Yeah. Swamin Wahanse, you have anything to add?
Karaniya Metta Sutta is not Metta. Karaniya Metta Sutta is not Metta. Karaniyang Atta Kusale. That is a camouflage in Sri Lankan Theravada Buddhism. Karaniyang Atta Kusala. Atta Kusala means not exclusive of Metta, not complete a Metta. So, what can Navata Darugabagata Noyandana, if you are not to go into another womb, life, you have to be see the Antima Gata Vitina, Satara Brahma Vienna, Hatton Hamadina, Satimatel. It's got a overall coverage. You know, Kochara, therapeutic and preventative level, how much mindfulness is dealing with Vera, but unlucky enough, Vera, you start with preventative and then go to therapeutic. But other kilesas, you start with therapy first, you anesthesia, and then go to the therapy, this thing, transgressive defilements, obsessional, and underlying tendencies. So in Vera, it is starting with that kind of a deep layers. That is why your livelihood, your dwelling place, your associating good friends through people is very important. Otherwise, the people will think the Vera can be tackled by a therapeutic way. That is why the Buddhism or mindfulness is misunderstood in the West. They use it for therapeutic use of tension and frustration. Mindfulness-based therapeutic stress reduction. And mindfulness-based everything. But for what? That is called mindfulness. But I don't think his criticism is well balanced. because he is not giving an answer. He is just criticizing. But anyway, we must be happy. At least they started with mindfulness as business Buddhism. And it gave a boost to Sri Lankan Buddhists, specifically to me. And then we must not stop at that level. We must take the full ration, not the partial ration of therapy only. So Vera, in that sense, is give a very exclusive model when compared with the other kilesas. So therefore, one must not tackle Vera at the early part of, or beginner's part of mindfulness or in ascetic life. Leave it as it is. Quit it. Go away. Don't try to do it. And then they will tell that you are escaping the society, you are selfish and you are internally tugging like a turtle. Yes. That is what we call tapas. That's why we call asceticism. That's why we call recluse. That's why we call mendicants. So that is, if there is no Sangha, if there is no Sangha community, if Buddha had that not founded it, individual can't do it. So we have to have a release, escape, hibernation, go and hide. And once it is come up to a certain level, through with other kilesas, then you can try little by not hating, not disappointing, not self-cursing, not finding fault with others, not disagreement, and don't think about the perfection. So many people, without knowing that or not, without realizing it, they expect perfection. That is a hate. Perfection means hate, utopia. The perfect world. Work to rule everything. Artificial intelligence. No human error. No humanness. So we are in such a stage that is highlighted by the society, but people are waiting without an answer because they are not mindful. If they are mindful, they are doing it mindfulness. It is business Buddhism. So we, in the mindful school, universal mindful village, must discuss this as deep as possible together with our limited experience and these theories. Then we have unique thing to give it to the humankind. But the world is now prepared with the mindfulness and the global warming and corruption. We can give a frictionless answer. We can give a comfort area. But we are still assimilating. The baby is growing, not ready for parturition yet.
Just to add another point, Swaminathan, I found that several books were compiled by Venerable Bhikkhu Analayo. So he has a separate book compiled mentioning compassion and emptiness in early Buddhist meditation. That is one book published by him. And then another article, emptiness and Brahma Viharas. So seems to be a kind of a trend to compile, so rather combine mindfulness, emptiness with the Brahma Viharas as well.
Good start.
So anything to add from our side? Any participants like to comment? Yeah. We have one comment question, Swaminathan. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Andreas from Australia. I didn't understand your first comment when you said metta was not the same as the Karaniya Metta Sutta. Then I think it even went partly into Sinhalese. I couldn't follow that at all.
I am talking about the name. It is not Karaniya Metta Sutta. It is called Karaniya Atta Kusala.
So the term Karaniya
Metta Sutta, Karaniya Atta Sutta.
The term Karaniya Metta, so what they mention, what they mention is
Karaniya Metta Kusale. Karaniyang Atta Kusalena, but when in the combination of two things, it was Karaniya Metta. That's a grammatical thing, and it has taken complete the nation in a wrong way. But inside the Karaniya Metta Sutta, Metta is there. Sati also there. But it is not completely for Metta Sutta, Mittanidanta Sutta. No, this is Karaniyang Atta Kusale.
Thank you, Mante.
Yeah. So basically there are, I think as far as I can remember, there are 14 skills mentioned inside the Karaniyang Atta Kusalena, that sutta. So metta is one quality. Yeah. So Santussakocha Subharocha Appakichocha Sallahukavotti Santindriyocha Nipakocha Kulesu Anunugiddo Nacha Kuddang Samachare Kinchiena Vinyuchare Upavadeyu Sukinoa Kemino Huntu. Now the metta coming to the page. Sukinoa Kemino Huntu Sabbe Satta Bhavantu Sukitatta. Now we are into the metta side. So certain other spiritual and kind of skills are mentioned, and then he is fairly established in a kind of a Brahma Viharas. And then
the wrong labeling, otherwise it's okay.
Yeah, so the label, sometimes what we take it as a Metta Sutta.
It's a wrong labeling.
It's a wrong labeling. Yeah. So people might think it only talks about the Metta. Probably. So there are no questions from our side, Swamin Hansa.
Hello.
There are no questions from our side.
Yeah, so that we have enough time.
Yes. Shall we move to the other sutta, or shall we try to find some?
Ujjhana Sutra බුදුරජාණන් වහන්සේ කියන අර දෙවෙනි ගාථාව කියන්න පුළුවන්ද?
You mean the last one, Swamin Hans, in the last section?
The second one, that if we have nothing, if we have not committed, if we have not given pardon, there's nothing to deal with the Vera.
එහෙමයි. අච්චයන් දේශයන්තීනං යෝචේ න පටිගන්හති කෝපන්තරෝ දෝසගරු සවේරං පටිමුච්චති තං වේරං නාබිනන්දාමි පටිගන්හාමි වෝචයන්ති. So the translation, the Sinhala.
It is like no, one before that.
So acchayo, then another verse mentioned by the Buddha, acchayo che na vijjetha no vidhapa gatang siya veranicha sammanyeyung veranicha sammeyung tenidha kusalosiya. Sinhala translation, idin mehi waradak
nat. How the Vera arising.
එහෙමයි. ඉදින් මෙහි වරදක් නැත්නම් ඉදින් අපරාධයකුත් නොවන්නේ නම් වෛරයෝත් සංසිඳෙන්නාහුනම් එයින් මෙහි දක්ෂයෙක් වන්නේය. නිර්වද්‍ය චර්යාවෙහි දක්ෂයෙක් වන්නේය.
හොඳයි. එවන අපිට කල් තියෙනවා කාටද යෝජනා කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඉත විනාඩි 10ක් විතර තියෙනවා. මොකද්ද කරන්නේ? 15ක් තියෙනවා. මේ පන්ති ළමයි there is a team of children came and started the Satipasala. After that I am visiting. So I can give another 15 minutes.
එහෙමයි. Swamin Wahanse, I suggest to move forward to the other sutta then.
Okay.
So the next sutta is called Saddha Sutta. And I'll recite the Pali verse. It's actually a shorter one. Ekang samayam bhagava savattyang viherati. Jetavane anatapindikassa arame. Atako sambahula satullapa kayika devatayo. Abhikkantaya rattiya abhikkanta kevala kappan jetavanang obhasetva. Yena bhagava tenupa sankaminsu. Upasankamitva bhagavantan abhivadetva ekamantang attansu. Ekamantan tithako eka devata bhagavato santike imang gathang abasi. Saddha dutiya purisassa hoti noche assadhyang avatitthati. Yasocha kitticha tattvassa hoti සග්ගංච සෝ ගච්ඡති ශරීරං පහයාති.
අවසරයි ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ, සද්ධා සූත්‍රය එක් කලෙක භාග්‍යවතුන් වහන්සේ සවැත් නුවර සමීපෙහි ජේතවන නම් වූ අනේපිඬු සිටුහුගේ අරමෙහි වැඩවසනසේක. එකල්හි විශිෂ්ට චවිවර්ණ ඇති බොහෝ වූ සතුල්ලප කායික දේවතාවෝ රැ පෙරයම ඉක්ම ගිය කල්හි මුළු දෙවුරම බබළුවා භාග්‍යවතුන් වහන්සේ වෙත එළඹියහ. එළඹ භාග්‍යවතුන් වහන්සේ වැඳ එකත් පසක සිටියහ. එකත් පසක සිටි එක් දෙවියෙක් භාග්‍යවතුන් වහන්සේ සමීපෙහි මේ ගාථාව කීය. පුරුෂයාට ශ්‍රද්ධාව දෙවෙනි වේ. ඉදින් සැදැහැ නැති බව නොසිටී නම් ඒ හේතුවෙන් ඔහුට පිරිවරද කීර්තියද වෙයි. හෙතෙමේ සිරුරු හැර පියා ස්වර්ගයටද යයි.
Asai Swamin Wahanse, the English name for this sutta is faith. Faith. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. Then, when the night had advanced, a number of devatas belonging to the Satullapa host, of stunning beauty, illuminating the entire Jeta's Grove, approached the Blessed One. Having approached, they paid homage to the Blessed One and stood to one side. Then one Devata, standing to one side, recited this verse in the presence of the Blessed One. Faith is a person's partner. If lack of faith does not persist, fame and renown thereby come to him, and he goes to heaven on leaving the body.
And then Buddha answers, Atako aparadevata bhagavato santike ima gathayo abhasi. Then further mentioned by other deities, Kodan jahe vippajaheya manang sangyojanang sabbang atikkameya tang nama rupasming asajjamanang akinchanang nanu patanti sangati. Pamada manu yunjanti bala dumme dhino jana apamadancha medhavi dhanang settangva rakkati. Ma pamada manu yunjeta ma kama rati santhavang අපමත්තෝ හි ජායන්තෝ පප්පෝති පරමං සුඛන්ති.
ඉක්බිති අන් දෙවියෙක් භාග්‍යවතුන් වහන්සේ සමීපෙහි මේ ගාථා කීය. ක්‍රෝධය දුරලන්නේය, මානය වෙසසින් බැහැරලන්නේය, සියලු සංයෝජන ඉක්මවන්නේය. නාම රූප දෙක්හි නොඇලෙන කෙලෙස් පලිබෝධ රහිත වූ ඔහු මත සංඝයෝ නොවැටෙත්. බාල වූ නුවණ නැත්තා වූ ජනයෝ ප්‍රමාදයෙහි යෙදෙත්. නුවණැත්තේ අප්‍රමාදයේ ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨ ධනයමෙන් රකි. ප්‍රමාදයෙහි නහමක් යෙදෙන්නේය. කාමරතියෙහි යෙදීම නොකරන්නේය. අප්‍රමත්ත පුද්ගල තෙමේ වනාහි ධ්‍යාන කරන්නේ උතුම් සුවයට පැමිණෙයි.
Then another Devata recited these verses in the presence of the Blessed One. One shall discard anger, cast off conceit, transcend all fetters. No ties torment one who has nothing, who does not adhere to name and form. And another Devata said, Foolish people devoid of wisdom devote themselves to negligence, but the wise man guards diligence as his foremost treasure. Do not yield to negligence. Don't be intimate with sensual delight, for the diligent ones meditating attain supreme happiness.
So that is the end of the sutta, Swamin Wahanse. Actually, as far as I felt that the last three verses uttered by the deity seems to have heard it from the Buddha, because many suttas, these three verses are mentioned by the Buddha. Any comments?
So this also somewhat
we can't hear you, Swamin Wahanse.
say to the early sutta, content is and Veda and that kind of thing. So you can go into the English comments.
I say, Swamin Wahanse, could we have
එහෙමයි Swamin Wahanse ඇහෙනවා.
could we have just a short description about how sensual delight is antithetical to development on the path, how it is a hindrance, sensual delight, just seeing beautiful sounds, hearing beautiful sounds, etc. How is this an impediment to progressing on the path?
So how the Kamachanda is blocking you. Am I correct?
Yes.
The sense desire is blocking. That is what you call the obsessional kind of defilements. Kamachanda means not sexual misconduct or sexual intercourse, but it's obsessing your mind. So that is nothing to deal with the moral restraint. It's about the concentration restraint. So only for the meditators that the obsessions are. For others, it is not. For others, the transgressional things are there. That is what the corruption, social corruption. But this is individual corruption. And then once it's transgressed, trespass, verbally or physically, then the disease become contagious. So therefore, yogis, mendicants, they are not worry about the social system because they are not doing any misdeeds. But they find how much I can temporarily keep the mindset free of obsession. And the first and foremost is Kamachanda, sensual desire. And that is what Sigmund Freud explained. All your behavior can explain through sex. So people found that is Jewish phonography. It was Sigmund Freud is talking about always sex. Buddha also mentioned, but he is talking about the sensuous pleasure. So with your faculties, and that but the external people can't find. I am with anger. I am with desire. I am sleepiness. But when once it's transgressed, only others can see. So obsessional defilements are open to you, but you are not skillful sometimes. If it is so, you just to hide. But in meditation, you can't hide. The desire rise, anger. And when it's happening, you have to understand the difference between the anger and the desire. And the difference between the sleepiness. And the difference between past and future wandering. And the doubt. So these things are together. But Buddha has explained into 5. Am I along your question, or am I taking you wrong?
Yes, Swaminathan, well said, well said. So, as I understand, being obsessed with sensual delight, it's a hindrance to concentration.
Sure. Concentration restraint means nothing but 5 hindrances.
Right.
Concentration part is taking 5 jhanic factors. Vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekaggata. Otherwise, our mind is always obsessed with kamacchanda, vyapada, teenamidda, uddhacha, kukucha, avidya. Sensuous desire, anger, sloth and torpor, and regret about the past and the future excitement. The last one is doubt. So this is what the world. So without correcting it, whatever the cleanliness you are going to do on the earth, atmosphere, or in water, utter useless. They are just multi-billion campaign. These are the bloody fellows are polluting it. They are never thinking about correcting of their mindset. Even the Buddha says that correction is temporary. He is showing you the possibility at the obsessional level. Then you have to give up your livelihood or the lay livelihood and go and practice ardently, full time. Lucky enough, we have monks on the world, and they are setting that example. Some traditions are not happy with them, but the Buddha has set this motion, learning. So we are happy. So obsessional types are the intermediate kind of defilement.
So, Savasarai, I have a question. So, another here also mentioned Appamattohi Jayanto likewise. And I have seen so many places Lord Buddha has mentioned about this jhana. So, why did he mention about every places like jhana without mentioning vipassana or insight? And I can remember Jhana Nissaya Sutta also beautifully mentioned how we come out from the jhana and do the vipassana, do the insight meditation. And I can remember Lokusavinase always says, do not think about samatha and vipassana. This continuous mindfulness become the samadhi level. Then Dhamma reach the next level, next Dhamma. Likewise. So Lokusavinase, I want to know why Lord Buddha always emphasize and promote this jhana word without emphasizing vipassana, Swaminathan?
No, for that we have to see the commentary for the term jhana. There are 2 kinds of jhana. Patipakka jayati means burning. So one thing is you can turn the obsessional defilements, you can burn off. That is about samatha jhana. Vipassana jhana is not only the obsessional, but you have the idea of burning your underlying tendencies or your directed dispositions at the surface level, that also you have to burn. So you can do it in 3 ways. First do Sila Sikha, and the Samadhi Sikha. Temporarily you stop the obsessional kind, and you may or may not concern about the underlying tendencies. Ase Anuse. But in Vipassana, we take both therapy and prevention, or prevention and therapy both together. So whenever the Vipassana is being emphasized, they give jhana 2 terms. Jhayati, upanijhayati means that burning. The burning of the samatha dhyana, samatha nivarana, the opposite of dhyana, is a temporary anesthetizing your mind. See the possibility, I can do it, I can dwell in, but it's temporary. But to burn in the present moment, both Asaya Anusaya together with the Pariuttana, that kind of a radical reflection. So if no harm, 95% of the suttas are talking about jhana, samatha jhana. Mahasi Sayadaw, when he's writing the book, he took the method from samatha jhana and applied to the vipassana. Pandita Sayadaw, you are parallel 4 jhanas, vipassana jhanas, and Visuddhimagga, Acharya Buddhaghosa, he says, Patipakka Vigamanena, Arammane Nirantaram Pavattamano, Appitovya Chittan Nissalan Tapeti. That means that if you are sharp enough to keep the mindfulness together with then and there arising object, Arammane Nirantaram Pavattamano, Patipakka Vigamanena, if you are not allowing any defilement to set in, then your mind is almost like appana, almost like absorbed. It is not absorbed. This is called vipassana jhana, or khanika samadhi, or khanamatta titika samadhi. That is still in terms of samatha. But if you believe in, if you keep on practicing some sati, and when it is gather the momentum, the chunk of time, you can say, not in the one thought moment, then you can say, within that period, nothing to worry about sila, nothing to worry about samadhi, only you have to worry about the liking and disliking. If you have some liking for samatha, definitely you can have inclination, you can go, no problem. It's better than sila. But if you have a liking and disliking for samatha, then you are disqualified for vipassana. So your accusation is that I have dislike for samatha life. That is, I don't agree, but that is the smell I get. Okay?
From this side, there are 2 people raised their hands.
Yeah, we can give them chance, yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Geshan, you can unmute and talk.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. So I just wanted to add some of the comments. I think the previous question that was asked, when you hear beautiful sounds or see beautiful elements, and I thought of sharing this, what I have learned when I was in Sunday school early, and I have been sort of thinking about it over and over as well. Maybe we can give this is how I kind of relate things as well. It says, Sankapparago Purisassa Kamo Natena Kamai Chitrani Loke Sankapparago Purisassa Kamo Tittanti Chitrani Natena Loke Atena Dira Vinayanti Chandati. So the way I understand, there is maybe Swaminathan, you can correct me. I really appreciate. For that particular question, what we see outside maybe there is a beautiful, in my case, since I'm a man, when I see a beautiful object, maybe a woman, or maybe a nice car, maybe a nice house, it's not what outside, but what I am creating within me by looking at that inside in my head, that I have created a bond to that object. So that itself is the one that delays us to get to the destination of. So that's how I look at it. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Thank you.
The Gatha is something wrong. Nate kama chittani lo kam nate kama yani chittani loke sankapparago purisasa itteva chittani tatetta loke atetta diro viniti chanda. That's a
Yes.
Way, but this kind of answers are very sharp for the person who is asking the question. They wanted to have a fair share for samatha. So he can have no harm. But it is already given. So therefore we give a kind of a katagasmak, the appetizer, some kind of appetizer. So they say in the appetizer there is no carbohydrate. Appetizer is not bound to give carbohydrate. That kind of a taste. Yeah. Appetizer in English can appetizer anyway. Rasamasa ulata, how do you say in English? Pandit has the last one.
Any English term for the startup
you have
kind of
something
thing?
tasty?
Starter.
So here we call
Starter.
Yeah, we call bite or a devil. Something. Is that what we are looking for?
Bite another? What do you say?
It can be called a devil as well.
No.
A devil.
So that's why these things are.
So.
Yeah. Devil kill කියන්නේ බැද්දයි කියන එකනේ බැදලා ගත්ත කියන එක. නේ බැදුම් ඒ කියන්නේ පුලුටු කියලා අපි කියන්නේ ඒකට. මෙතනින් ගියාම මේ අනිත් එක කිව්වේ මේ devil and bite. Bite එක කියන්නේ බොනේ අපුන්ට. නමුත් මේට විදිය හොඳ දීසන් වචනක් තියෙනවා පණ්ඩිතසාතික පාවිච්චි කරන රසමස උලුවට. So whatever it may be, in the samatha world, full of samatha world, there are some few moldy fish, some bite. So if you take only the moldy fish and says, in this moldy fish, no carbohydrate, oil and fat, and the protein ratio, you are wrong. It is just to appetize. It is just a catalytic effect. So therefore, that samatha bias people, they have this mentality. Yeah, they have to appreciate it. They have to protect it. Good. But that is not the message we are delivering from Nissarana. Now time up. I am going for children.
Yeah, my Sainasa, we think we also have to conclude the session now. So I invite, as usual, Venerable Dhammajiva to conduct the sharing of merits.
You may please do it for me.
Asai Swamin Wahanse.
I take leave.
To teach the Dhamma and to listen the Dhamma, meritorious deed. So for the merits we have accrued today, we would like to extend them to our teachers, to our relatives, to all the Devas. May our parents rejoice in our merits. May all Devas rejoice in our merits. May all celestial beings protect the Dhamma exposition and the Buddha dispensation for a long time.